Okay, good afternoon, everybody. In today's webinar, we will be discussing about natural language processing, in short, NLP. NLP, or the natural language processing, is not a very simple topic. However, somewhere we need to start, and we will start short and simple. This is Dipayan Sarkar from Algorithm Lab. I represent Algorithm Lab as the Chief Data Scientist. We provide consulting in data science, machine learning, and AI space. And we also develop a lot of academic contents for various academic institutions who run programs in artificial intelligence or machine learning, or for that matter, a wide variety of other technologies. Many of us might have come across some of these which I'm going to talk about. And we need to see how all of these work actually. To start with, I'm sure all of us have come across spam emails, right? Have you realized that when a lot of emails come in your mailbox, Gmail, or for that matter, Microsoft emails or Yahoo, they pick up the email, they identify that this email is not the right email, or it might be a spam one, and it puts it into the spam email box, spam box, right? But how does it do it? When you are using your mobile phone, you are typing something, it predicts the next word. And it predicts a couple of words, not just one word, and it gives you the options to select the right word. It makes your typing faster, easier. How does it do? You must have interacted with Google Home, Apple Pods, Alexa, giving instructions to switch off the light, to switch on the light, and so on. Many of us have interacted with chatbots. So when you visit a website, a chatbot comes up and says you hello, you start chatting, inquiring about the products, services, right? How is this automated chatbot without any intervention from the human beings doing it? I'm sure many of us have used various software. One of the very prominent software that is being used today is Grammarly, which not only corrects your English, it also refines your English. It tells you what is the best alternate word that you can use. It corrects your grammar. Not only that, it even checks your plagiarism. Plagiarism is something which is killing the world, right? And it does it in minutes. It doesn't take hours. If you write an article, you submit it to the plagiarism software, within minutes, it checks a vast volume of articles across the web, and it tells you what percentage of your content is already existing in some other articles or documents. Smart Compose, this is something I'm sure we must have come across, all of us, while using Gmail. When you type, it automatically tells you the remaining part of the sentences you are most likely to use, right? And that makes our life so simpler, so easier, so faster, so efficient. Information extraction. In today's date, we need a lot of information from different parts of the web. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, news channels, YouTubes. How are we going to extract this information? We talk about something called sentiment analysis. How do we understand what is the sentiment of the people? Product companies are launching their products, trying to understand the sentiment about the consumers regarding their products. Political parties in different countries are using this natural language processing to understand the sentiments of the citizens. And it's widely used, not just by political parties, not just by product launching companies. It's used almost in many facets of life. Question answering. It's not only used by children, it's used by almost all of us. Go and ask a question to Siri, go and ask a question to Alexa, Google. It gives you an answer. How is it possible for a machine to understand what we are talking, what we are asking? Translation. Well, It's still evolving. Translation, if you go to Google and try to translate English to Chinese or Chinese to English, or maybe some other languages, you might find some flaws in it, but things are evolving if you notice, right? All of this are working. It's because of NLP, natural language processing. So let's try to understand this natural language processing. Natural language processing are nothing but set of techniques. And it comes under a bigger umbrella called artificial intelligence. Now, what is this artificial intelligence again? Too many of terminologies: natural language processing, artificial intelligence. Simplistically speaking, artificial intelligence is just a computer performing tasks that you and me can do. You and me can talk, right? So does computer. You can listen, so does computer. You can see, so does computer. You can take a decision. We can make a computer take a decision. You can identify an object. When you see something, you say, oh, this is a cricket bat. Oh, this is a car. Computers can do it. And all of this can be done using artificial intelligence. And natural language processing is one component of the artificial intelligence umbrella. Think of an autonomous car, a car that is being driven by itself, no drivers required. How is it possible for a car to see an object, identify that object? How is it possible for a car which is not being driven by a driver, which is running autonomously, is able to identify objects, is able to understand this is a traffic light, or is able to understand there is a vehicle in front of it? And how is it able to read the road signs? Being able to read the road signs is something which is done by natural language processing. Again, terminologies, natural language processing. Simplistically speaking, it deals with text data. Okay. So artificial intelligence, simplistically speaking, computer performing tasks that you and me can do. Natural language processing is one component of the AI that can deal with text data. What is this text data? Well, we have seen data in Microsoft Excel, right? You have seen the data are put into rows and column format in Microsoft Excel. That is what is a kind of structured data. But in today's world, not everywhere you have the structured data. If you talk about a news article, it's not a structured data, it's unstructured data, it's a text data. Talk about a tweet, talk about a Facebook post. These are all text data, right? And NLP, or the natural language processing, is something that we use to deal with this kind of data. Let's see how it works. Before we see how it works, let us take one domain. We have selected marketing as one of the domain, though it is not restricted to marketing. It can be used almost anywhere. You talk of marketing, banking, finance, insurance, healthcare, talk any domain, any business areas, NLP can be used. But just to get an understanding of where all NLP is used, we have selected marketing as the domain. And let's see some of the applications. NLP can be used to write your promotional ads, or even the content that goes into your advertisements. Chatbots, sentiment analysis, voice search. I will come to this in a while. And automated summarization of information. These are just few of them. Let's deep dive into AI copywriter for efficient ad or the content generation. Take this example. In the US, one of the dealer of Harley Davidson, he was selling just 2 units per week until he opted to use a software called Albert.ai, which is using NLP. And what did the software do, you know? It kept on watching all the social media posts and ads. It kept on watching the reactions to each of these ads and all this. And it came up with a suggestion. You know what was the suggestion? The suggestion is the dealer was putting an ad and it says, don't miss out a pre-owned Harley with a great price, buy now. And this software could suggest saying, can you replace the word buy with a call? Instead of saying buy now, it suggested call now. And the dealer is now selling 15 units per week. And that's what NLP can do for you. NLP can suggest you, NLP can create the content for you that goes well for your marketing purpose. And that's NLP in marketing. Chatbot for capturing leads. If you go and talk or interact with the chatbot on any website, you give your name, you give your contact information, you talk about the products you would like to buy, and this chatbot can intelligently identify your case. It can prioritize and redirect the case to the right person at the back, which means it is actually capturing the leads. Talk about sentiment analysis. It has huge business cases. Brand monitoring. Sentiment analysis is used for brand monitoring. If you are a product company, you launch a product, you would like to understand how the consumers are reacting to the product. What is their sentiments? You launch iPhone 13, iPhone 14. How are the customers or the consumers reacting to it? How well they are accepting the product? And that's what you can do using sentiment analysis. Competitive research. You can compare between different products, different services through sentiment analysis, and then understand, well, the sentiment about my product B is better than my product A or my competitor's product. You can do product analysis, right? Let's take a quick look into sentiment analysis. This is one of the website. This is one of the solution that is available for you to use free of cost. I will take you there. And of course, the URL is there on the chat. And let me take you to this website. Okay. And I put this URL on the chat for you. Sorry, I don't think I have. Yeah, I can do that for you. Okay, here it is. You see here, I will be typing something and it will tell me whether the sentence is a positive, negative, or a neutral set. So here I write something and I say, Singapore is a great country. And here it was, I'd say classified text. And it says it's a positive sentence with 99.2% confidence. This is something which is wonderful. You see natural language processing. What it is simply doing is it is able to understand the texts. It is able to understand the sentences we are providing with. Till now, it is you and me who could do it, right? It is the human being who can understand that whether this sentence is a positive or a negative. Now we are making computers do it. Well, when you use this tool, you might also see that there are some challenges. It might not be able to understand certain parts of speech. It might not be able to understand certain parts of the sentences. But as I said, things are evolving, and it also depends on how good the solution is. For example, if I say you scored high marks, and I say classified text, it says it's a positive with a 56.3%. So basically it is saying, well, I understand it is a positive sentence, but the confidence level is low about how positive it is. And another thing is, if I say you scored just 10%. What a great score. And you might see it is faltering. It might not be able to give you the right result. And it says, oh, it's a positive 99.5%. Obviously, you are saying, hey, 10% is not a good marks. Then what is it? Well, NLP is not able to capture the sarcasm, right? I'm saying you scored just 10%. What a great score. It is picking up the word great and it is trying to say, well, it is a positive sentence. Again, all said and done, things are evolving. There are different solutions in the market and a lot of research is going on in NLP, using NLP, and things have evolved a lot since the last 1 decade. Let me go back to the presentation here. Okay. I have given the URL. You can play around with it in your free time. Voice search. This is another area where it's being used. And you won't believe currently 65% of people aged between 25 to 49, they speak to their smart devices at least once per day. And it's going to double. And it is becoming very, very important. You know why? When you go and type something in Google, Google understands what you are typing. You search something, Google understands what you are searching. You write an email, even if Google is automated through automation, it is able to read your emails. It's all automated. It is reading some texts. But when people start using their voice, and I'm using my voice to search some products, some services using Google, it is no more a normal text, it's voice. So it has become more important now to analyze these voices. But how do we do it? We'll see in a while again. Automated summarization of information. This is another beautiful thing that's most marketing companies are using it. It simply says it's a process of shortening a set of data to create a subset. In other words, if you take the web, take up any topic, you might get thousands of articles regarding the topic. For example, just take a product, a Samsung phone is being launched newly. What do? There will be a lot of articles around the globe, around the web. How do you summarize the information about your competitor's product? And all of these automation can happen within minutes using NLP. It can just create a summary of the relevant information, give it to you so that every morning you come to the office, you get to know the trends, you get to know the sentiments of your products, of your competitors' products. And that can make your decision making a lot faster and easier. But how does it work? We have seen what are the application areas of NLP. But how does it really work? Well, you have some text data. We have seen, right? NLP is all about dealing with the text data. So it takes the text data, converts it into a form that computers can understand. But then, well, let's see how. So NLP, as you can understand, it has two components, because if you think from your perspective, how do you understand a language? How do you process? First thing, you understand, and then you generate. For example, if I'm talking to you, you must be processing whatever I'm talking, right? You must be processing those words in your brain. You understand them, and then you talk back to me. So you understand what I'm saying, and then you generate certain words which you would like to speak to me. So there are two simple components. One is understanding, the second is the generation. And these two components are the components of NLP. So NLU and NLG. NLU has two components again, the syntactic analysis and the semantic analysis. Well, this might look a little technical, but ideal, actually, if you see, it's pretty simple. The syntactic analysis component, what it does is it parses through the texts, it analyzes the texts using basic grammar rules to understand the structure of the sentence. So coming again, the syntactic analysis, what it does is basically it parses through the sentence, identifies the sentence structure through basic grammar rules, as simple as that. The semantic analysis, it focuses a little more. It focuses on capturing the meaning of texts through combination of context. For example, if I tell you the word current, C-U-R-R-E-N-T, you might say, oh, I understand that the word current, but what is this guy trying to talk about? So if I say John is riding a boat against the current, you will say, oh, I now know what this current word means. The current here means the flow of the water. So John is riding the boat against the current. Here, the current means the flow of the water. But if I tell you the current version of the document is in the folder, you will say, oh, this word current means the latest version of the document and not the flow of the water. So while the syntactic analysis can check the basic structure of the sentence, the semantic analysis can understand the meaning of the text using context and the combination of the words, just the way you and me just did with the word current. And then once it understands the sentence structure, the combination of the words, meaning of the sentence, now it is well equipped because it has understood the text. It says, hey, I understand the text. Now, can I generate something? So it goes to NLG, and NLG, it says, okay, here is where I can generate some text. So it content formulation in logical manner. It formulates the content in a logical manner. It brings in the punctuation, the pronouns, the conjunctions, the paragraphs, and it also ensures the grammar rules. For example, if I tell you, let's eat, comma, grandma, if this is the sentence, let's eat, comma, grandma, what you are ideally saying is, grandma, come, let's eat. But if the comma is taken out, well, let's eat grandma without the comma. I'm sure you're not going to do that, right? You're not going to eat your grandma. So here is where the NLG takes care of it. The NLG says, well, now that we have understood the text, we need to generate new text, and we can generate the new text using a logical formulation, using punctuations and other grammatical rules. But all of this goes through a process, and the process are pretty simple if you see. Now, the thing is that how do I make computer do all of this? Here is where the NLP pipeline is. The NLP pipeline has different stages. Of course, there are quite a good number of complex stages. I have put some of them here. The segmentation, the tokenization, stop word, stemming, lemmatization, speech tagging, named entity recognition, a lot of jargons again, right? But if you see, all of them are very simple. Segmentation. Read the sentence here. Government expenditure on education in Singapore was reported at 2.5067% of total GDP in 2020, according to the World Bank collection of development indicators. Well, this information is taken from Google. I have picked it up from Google. And what the NLP pipeline will do, it will take this sentence and break into segmentations. So it has, if you see, it has broken it into two paragraphs, two separate segments. It has identified the punctuation and it has broken it into two segments. And that's what segmentation is. Then it goes into tokenization. Tokenization is nothing but breaking the sentence into words. So it takes one paragraph of sentence of words. Government expenditure on education, Singapore was reported at 2.5067%, blah, blah, blah. And it has broken it into into words. And then I don't know if you have noticed while using Google, if you search something, Google actually doesn't consider certain words which might be very common. Like, for example, if I say, how is the weather in Singapore? It might ignore the word is and in, because without the word is and in, it is still able to understand I'm querying about the weather in Singapore. And those are known as stop words. So in order to make things simpler, what the NLP pipeline component does is it removes those stop words. So it becomes a government, expenditure, education. And if you see, the common words like on and in and was and at are all removed from the sentence. Then we come into something called stemming and lemmatization. Stemming is something where it converts the word into its base word. It takes all the forms of the grammar, like went, going, go. If you see, these are all coming from the single word called go. And that's what the stemming does for you. It takes the past tense, the present continuous, the present tense, and everything is formed into a base word. Lemmatization, again, it brings the certain words into the base word like am, is, are. If you see, I'm going to visit the church, John is coming with me, the other boys are also coming. And the words like am and is or are converted into the base word be. It can also do a part of speech tagging. We call it POS, POS tagging. I will visit the Himalayas and it is able to understand which is a pronoun, which is a verb, which is a determiner, which is a noun. It does the part of speech or the POS tagging of these words. And not only that, it can also put or identify, recognize the entities through named entity recognition. You see here, Steve Jobs is the founder of Apple. It says Steve Jobs is a person, Apple is an organization. So it is able to understand which is a road name or a street name, which is a company name, which is the name of a country, which is the name of a person, and so on. And this, using this pipeline, you actually process the data. So the NLP pipeline actually processes the data in this form and then feeds it into the computer for it to understand and do the next set of generation of texts. This brings us to something called large language models. Well, this is slightly on the technical side, but nevertheless, large language models. Let me explain you this. You build some NLP models, but you also realize that language, the language you and me speak, are not very simple. There are various kind of various languages in this world. Each of them has its own dialect, own grammar rules, and it becomes a challenge. So what this LLM or the large language models are trying to do, they are trying to see whether they can learn from all of this vast volume of data. So language models are nothing but some kind of algorithms that can recognize, predict, and generate human languages. All right, like when you are talking to Siri or Google Home or Alexa, it replies you back. So it's basically able to understand and recognize what you are saying, and it is able to generate human languages for you, isn't it? You ask, how is the weather looking like in Singapore today? And Alexa will reply you back. So it is able to recognize what you are saying. It is able to generate human languages, the same language what you speak, and it is giving you back. This language model extended to a large volume of data is called a large language model. And it is a very much a necessity today because the text data across the world is very, very voluminous. Well, again, there are various large language models. For example, if you see on my screen, the Megatron tuning NLG, This is a Microsoft NVIDIA collaboration. They have come up with a ready-made model which you can use directly. You really don't need to redevelop it. You don't need to rework on these models. Those are the models available for you to use, though Microsoft is yet to make this public, but they have come up with a Megatron Turing NLG. They named it that way, and Microsoft and NVIDIA together has come up. But more interesting is the GPT-3. If you see on the next one, the GPT-3, this is actually developed by a company called OpenAI. And in case you have not heard of OpenAI, I'm sure you must have heard of the co-founder, Elon Musk. Elon Musk has co-founded OpenAI, and OpenAI has come up with a large language model, GPT-3. What it has done is basically the Megatron or the GPT-3. They have studied a lot of text data from across the web, all of them, many of them, and tried learning from them. So these algorithms have built models that have learned from all of this text data across the web and have come up with something that you can use. Let's see a demo of this GPT-3. It's wonderful. I will take you there. Of course, I will also put it for you to use. And here it goes. Let me put this on chat for you. And here is the URL. And let me write something here. Well, write maybe a poem on you. And I can do some kind of settings here on my right-hand side. If you see, I will just increase the number of words or reduce the number of words. And I say submit. And let me see what it does for me. Well. He was the man who put Singapore on the map. He was the one who made us a first world country, and we will never forget him. He fought for us day and night. He gave us everything he had, and we will never forget him. He was our father, our leader, and we will never forget him. A wonderful poem. And let me tell you, this poem is not available in Google anywhere. What the GPT-3 has done is it simply crawled across all the documents or articles or any write-ups available across the web regarding this great man and has written a poem. You must be thinking, well, if I'm a schoolgoer, if I'm a student of a secondary education, I can probably use this to write my essay. Oh, well, yes, you can do it. If I try to write something else, maybe not just a poem, you can write an essay, you can ask anything, write something about Singapore, and I also increase the number of words to maybe 400 words. And let me see what it writes for you. Well, it keeps on writing, right? Can I change this? Write a poem on Singapore, and I click here. Well, I can guarantee you this poem is not available anywhere. And Singapore, a land of many cultures, a place where East meets West, a melting pot of races and religions, and so on. If I simply delete this, I say write a poem on Singapore again, a new poem altogether in few seconds, not even minutes. Wonderful. And this is what GPT-3 is, a large language model. It is doing just two things, the NLU, the NLG. It understands what you are asking. So it identifies, it recognizes your human language. Okay, you are asking it to write a poem. You are asking it to write a poem on Singapore. And then the NLU component, it's says, okay, now I understand these things. Now I will use the NLG to generate the human language. And this is what your GPT-3 can do. So let me go back to the presentation. Of course, you can play around with GPT-3 as much as you want. So Elon Musk has decided to put this for public use, but there is a big but, and you need to be careful about it. GPT-3 can go wrong as well. There have been a lot of misuses. If you see about some of the news in the media, it's very startling, it's very dangerous, it's shocking that this kind of lovely tools which can do wonders for you are being misused. And there are news almost everywhere. If you see the first one at MIT Technology, a college kid's fake AI generated blog fooled tens of thousands. Read the next sentence in small font. It was super easy, actually, he says, which was the scary part. Can you imagine a college kid creating a blog using GPT-3 or other such large language models, fooling everybody? And it's so real. These tools are working in a so realistic way that it becomes near impossible for you and me to understand it is generated by a system, it's fake, and it's not written by a human being. There is a lot of misinformation, manipulation, and this misinformation is at scale. It is not once in a while here and there. People with malintention, they are using these tools to generate emails that are being sent to your mailbox, which becomes almost impossible for you to understand that these emails are fake. I'm not talking of simple cyber scams where you get some SMS saying you won a lottery. No. I'm talking of mails that appear in your mailbox that looks so real that even the mail systems are failing to mark them as spam because they are real. And that's what the challenges with LLM is. As usual, it is the same thing with all the technologies, you know. You use it right way, you get the benefits. You use it wrong way, you create all sorts of nasty things. And that brings us to the ethical use of the data and NLP. We have a lot of data with us, we have a lot of technologies with us. But if I go back to this and read all about this, it says that, are we using these tools for a proper use? How do we restrict people from wrongly using them? And that brings us to an individual capacity of saying, no, we need to be ethical while using it. This is a great example which I put on the screen. You know what Amazon did? Amazon said, the HR team at Amazon said, hey, we get a lot of resumes, you know, so how do I filter these resumes? Hundreds and thousands of resumes. It becomes very tough for the team to filter, shortlist the resumes. So they said, hey, can we build a machine learning model that can use NLP and stuff like that and can vet my resumes, can score, can give a scoring to the resume, that this resume is 1 or this resume is 5. Higher the score, better the resume it is. But what happened was this model was trained based on some last 10 years of the data. And what happened in that data, in the resumes, the past resumes, it was more dominated by male resumes. So what the model did was it learned so well those resumes that when it got resumes from the female counterparts, it was giving low score. But you might ask, like, hey, wait, nobody puts in the resume, I'm a male, I'm a female. How did NLP or machine learning models understand that? Well, you might have some information there which tells the ML model that this resume is coming from a male or coming from a female. If I say, okay, I have studied in maybe St. Joseph's Women's College, well, I have revealed already. If I say I have won the Women's Tennis Championship, well, I've revealed it again. I'm a member of Chicago Women's Club. Anything like that. Or my hobbies. There might be a male-centric hobby, there might be a female-centric hobbies. It could learn all of this. And unfortunately, what it was doing was, it was downgrading all the female resumes. Amazon had to come to the media and said, no, we haven't used this model. It is not just a social or a moral problem, it is a legal problem as well for Amazon, apart from the bigger challenges on the social side, on the moral side as well. And this news were everywhere, whether it's on the Reuters or BBC or NY Times, everywhere it was there. Amazon came into the media, said, we scrapped that sexist AI tool. That brings us to the fact that we have great tools with us. NLP can do wonders for us. We have high volume of data, wonderful technologies, wonderful algorithms and techniques with us. But it is up to us how ethically we use it. And that is something what we need to remember. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. That's all from my side today. I'm open to any Q&A. Okay, I see a few Q&A. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I see most of the questions are answered already.